This is the trestle table that I'm building, and like a lot of my projects, I'm making design changes along the way. And I've decided that the trestle looks a little heavy, a little static, and I'm going to add a slight curve to the bottom. So I've made this pattern, and in this video I'll show you how I make the pattern and then how I use the pattern to add that curve to the bottom of the trestle. To make the slight curve at the bottom of the trestle, I'll need to make a pattern, and I'm going to use a piece of 1/2 inch plywood to make the pattern. I ripped it at the same width as the trestle, which is 7.5 inches. And I've also ripped a piece of 1/2 inch plywood at 7/8 of an inch. And I'm going to use that to bend the curve. I have 1.25 inch nails in the nail gun. This is the guide part of the jig. I'll put that on the pattern, and I've measured out 5 inches to that mark. And I'll make sure that I'm flush and drive a nail at that mark. And then maybe one in the center, and then one in the center mark. And then I'll come over to the other mark and drive another nail. And then again in the center. I've measured up from the bottom of the pattern and made a mark at 2 inches. I'll hold the guide part of the jig at that mark and drive a nail. Now you can see I have this kind of a gentle curve. And I'll go ahead and throw a nail maybe every 8 inches for a little reinforcement. And then I'll reinforce the guide with a few beads of hot glue. Now that I have the guide attached to the pattern, I'm going to rough cut it on the bandsaw. So I'll take this off, but I will not, I'll try not to hit the guide part. And then I'll clean that up with a flush cut bit in the router. Now I'll take the pattern and I'll hold it flush at the top and on the sides. I've got the pattern clamped in position. I'll trace it and then make this cut heavy using the bandsaw. When I started to push the router, it sounded like the wood was likely to tear out. And for this reason, I decided to make the cut using the climb cut method. That's when you move the router in the same direction that the bit is spinning. Now, some people consider this dangerous, and it can be, but it is a method that a lot of woodworkers use to prevent tear out. You want to make sure that you brace yourself and try not to remove too much material with one pass. After removing most of the material using the climb cut method, I'll push the router through on its final pass. Okay, I think that's a lot better. You know, it's just a little change, but I think it makes all the difference because instead of having a right angle come through the trestle and have it out here looking very static, when you look at the table from this end, you have kind of a sloping angle from the bottom of the trestle, and you have the sloping angle from the brace, and a little bit of an angle from the main leg here. So all those things I think create something interesting. And sometimes you just have to look at it a little bit. And in this case, I kind of had to convince myself to do the extra work. But that's kind of always the way it is. I'll always do the extra work, but it just takes a little convincing, but definitely worth it. And I think that this is going to look really great when it's done. This gives you an example of what the top will look like on the table. It will have an 8-foot top made of 5/4, which is about 1 1/16 thick. I'm probably going to taper the edges so it looks a little bit lighter, a little bit more elegant. I'm considering putting a slight bow on each table end. I'm not sure, something that would maybe mirror this. But this project should be up on the channel in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to be sending my plans to Brian Benham, and he'll turn them into professional plans like I have on my website. And then there's just a ton of editing that I have to do for this video. And it's going to be another one of those long format videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and just a shameless plug, if you're looking for a piece of furniture to build, check out my website. I've got a lot of good furniture projects, and I make videos with the idea that they're going to help woodworkers build furniture for their home. A lot of attention goes into the design, into the instruction, to really make something that will last the test of time. So that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. With spring just around the corner, the planter box is a great project to get started on, and will definitely inspire you to spend some time in the shop. The decorative legs are made with the table saw and the miter saw, and the planter is built with pocket hole joinery, so definitely an introduction to woodworking project. You can find the link to the plans and the project video down in the description below.